In the next 10 minutes, Paul Joseph Watson is set to publish a key report at prisonplanet.com dealing with President Obama and October or even early November surprise, staged terror attacks. We've learned to read the signs when they're considering staging an event. They are full court press right now, hyping that terrorists may strike the United States. And we have Obama and Clinton advisors like Robert Shapiro saying what Obama needs is a giant terror attack to win the midterm elections and to get a second term in 2012. I mean, they're out in the open talking about this. The criminals that run our government, that run many other governments, have been caught staging events. Hitler did it. The czars did it. After them, the communist Russians did it. I mean, it's a favorite tactic used, and so this detailed report that I consulted with Paul on has got a lot of key bullet points, and that's coming out in the near future. We'll cover that after we get into the economy coming up. Well, there I was back in late July, and we wrote multiple articles at prisonplanet.com and infowars.com predicting staged terror attacks, and if you go listen to the full shows that we did on it, I even, of course, and we're busy pulling those clips up, because we don't sit here when I make predictions and just mark them down, something we really ought to do so they're easier to pull. But listeners are welcome to go to our YouTube channel that has most of the shows posted, or the MP3s, all archived at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv, and the video archive there, and help us pull all of these predictions out for the general public. But it's not hard to make those predictions when you understand the globalist mindset and game plan. And when you see all of these Obama advisors out in the open saying, if we don't have an Oklahoma City or a 9/11 event so Obama can look like a strong leader who protects us, we're going to have total political destruction. But I've pointed out that even staged terror isn't going to work for them anymore, because the vast majority of people are very suspect of this. They don't buy into it anymore. I said last night that I believe you're going to see more of these packages mailed and bombings. I'm on record saying Friday and Sunday, on Friday's show and yesterday, less than 24 hours ago, that there's a very good chance we're going to see more events leading right up until tomorrow. Well, here is Reuters. Greece intercepts parcel bomb addressed to Sarkozy. Again, Greece intercepts parcel or package bomb addressed to Sarkozy, and Greek police intercept a booby-trapped parcel addressed to French President Nicolas Sarkozy on Monday after another package exploded at a courier company in Athens, slightly wounding an employee. The heat is on. And notice they're claiming a leftist/communist group did this. Now, I'm no fan of leftists and communists, but if you go back to Patty Hearst, it was declassified last year that she was FBI, and those were staged events to basically menace the public into giving up more of their liberty. And Nixon got caught wanting to bomb his own convention. That's even come out on Frontline on PBS, but they called it off. And we know about Operation Gladio and the NATO option in Europe. We have the former Italian president, who was also the former Italian intelligence head, coming out last year, talking about the U.S. government staging terror attacks in Italy to blame leftists, the Bologna bombing and other events, and that's exactly what we've got going on here. The evidence is clear. We've got Webster Tarpley coming on to talk about this, Paul Watson coming on to talk about it. We've got Wayne Madsen coming on to discuss it. All the election news, you name it, it's coming up. Paul Watson joining us via video Skype on the other side of this break. We're going to be breaking down the economy, the huge developments on the eve of Super Tuesday tomorrow, November 2nd, 2010. Less than 24 hours out right now from the historic midterm elections. It is November 1st, 2010. 2010, extremely long in the tooth. Incredible dirty tricks going on. This is out of the Wall Street Journal. Phone recordings set off firestorm in Alaska. Republican Senate candidate Joe Miller of Alaska. CBS TV accidentally called and thought they'd hung the phone up, but left it on a voicemail, kind of like a pocket call when somebody's cell phone accidentally dials you. And they talked about how they were going to set him up and destroy him by basically having child molesters at his events, trying to get fights started, anything they can do. This is the type of dirty tricks that the Democrats... I mean, look, Republicans play dirty tricks as well. Politics is a dirty business. But Democrats have sold this image that, oh, Republicans are beating people up everywhere. Oh, Republicans are like brown shirts. They're like Nazis. For every video we find of a Republican beating somebody up at a Tea Party or a campaign event, there's got to be literally 10, 15, 20 of Democrats cutting people's fingers off, beating them up, beating their heads in with 2x4s, assaulting people. Jon Stewart's employees beating up and being arrested. We Are Change people for politely asking questions. I mean, it's just mad dog attacks. So, again, I'm nonpartisan. I just call it like it is. The Democrats are the brown shirts here, and they're getting caught. So that's coming up. Great news on Rand Paul, headed for easy victory. They've got national polls out on that. He's pulled away. In some polls, over 15 points. Most polls are 11 points. The lowest polls have him with a 9-point lead. That's 4 points above the margin of error. This is amazing. Bill Clinton campaigns for you. In Florida, you lose. He campaigns for you in Kentucky, you lose. He campaigns for you in Pennsylvania, you lose. Newt Gingrich campaigns for you as a Republican in the primary against Rand Paul, you lose. People are sick of these establishment candidates. This is a major political realignment that is taking place. Also, coming up, this is out of the Pittsburgh News Channel, ABC News 4. Team 4, debt collectors accused of fake courtrooms, fake judges. Well, this is exactly what the CPS does. This is exactly what the health department does in Texas, claiming you've got to take the Gardasil shot that's killed so many people and maimed so many others. They just lie and say it's the law. And they send out fake letters ordering you to do it. Well, now debt collectors are running the same scam, and that integrates in with a Star Tribune story, in jail for being in debt. And it turns out they haven't broken a law, but the courts are so corrupt, they'll still send you to jail, in some cases, for less than $100 that is owed to a private company. Here's another report from the ACLU, In for a Penny, the rise of America's new debtor prisons, and that integrates in with the IMF tax tribunals coming to American soil, openly being announced. That's a story at Infowars.com by Kurt Nimmo. And again, we're going to go over the economy. Speaking of the economy, I want to put up the photo that's on the Drudge Report's front page right now for PrisonPlanet.tv viewers. Watson's also got it linked up at PrisonPlanet.com. Brother, can you spare a dime? Man begs to Obama. Comes up to his motorcade and gets on his knees and begs. Remember all the people during the campaign and the day he got elected in November of 2008? Rejoicing in New York and Florida and Texas and California, thank you, President. I don't have to worry about my house payment. I don't have to worry about my car payment. Everything's solved. 2 years later, it'll be 2 years tomorrow, 2 years into his election, his inauguration was in January. In January 22nd, it'll be 2 years in office. The Democrats are openly talking about Obama not getting the nomination for the 2012 election. But if people think the Republicans are going to go in there overnight and fix everything, they've got another thing coming. It's the sustained anger that is going to change the face of this nation for the good. And if the Republicans think they're going to go in there and soft soap all this and whitewash it and sell pap to the public, they've got another thing coming, and they know it. That's why Senator DeMint last week said he may leave the Republican Party if they don't fully deliver on getting rid of Obamacare, cutting taxes. So that's just some of what's coming up on that front. We do have Wayne Madsen coming up in the middle of the next hour to talk about all the stage terror, and then Webster Griffin Tarpley also coming on, because this is so big. This is so important. Starting the show just a few minutes ago, I played a clip of late July when Paul Watson and I wrote articles with the headline, Clinton advisor tells Obama without stage terror, his political destiny is over. And we put those articles out, and I said specifically, look for more dud attacks like the underwear bombing, like the Times Square, because they have to use patsies who are mentally ill to go out and carry out these attacks, but it's ineffective. But more importantly than being ineffective, when it doesn't kill a bunch of people, then they don't have to have a real investigation. And Obama can say, see, I protected you. Well, Friday evening watching the news, Saturday and Sunday, listening to Beyond the Beltway yesterday, driving home after my Sunday show, 4 to 6 p.m. Central, I heard Democratic operatives on every radio channel saying, this shows Obama can protect you. But it also did something else. It didn't just let him grandstand as the savior who can get things done and our big daddy. It took over the news cycle Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to a great extent, as the news cycle Wednesday, Thursday into Friday morning was reporting one thing: total Republican wave, total anti-establishment wave through the Republican Party, with the system pulling out all the stops going after the real patriot candidates that the rhino Republicans believe they can't control. Remember the memos 2 weeks ago that got leaked with the internal Republican Party very scared of the Tea Parties? They haven't been able to fully take them over. And so it changed the subject Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and now today with new bombings in Europe, more parcels, bombs going off in Greece, bombs being delivered in France. It changes the subject to terrorism instead of the Republican wave. Because just like there was a Democratic wave in 08 for Obama, a lot of people who were on the fence, and national polls show even this weekend that upwards of 12% of voters in Gallup, it's 10 in some other polls, are undecided. That's that key group. But when the average kind of sheep-like person who doesn't really know where they stand hears, oh, everything's going Republican, they're going to win the House for sure, maybe even the Senate, just by taking control of the news cycle with these dud printer-cartridge supposed bombs, that changes the subject away from political wave, total takeover, to, oh my gosh, Obama's keeping us safe, and may actually allow them to keep the Senate. Now, joining us for this segment, the next via video, Skype, is Paul Joseph Watson. He has a detailed report. CIA stooge Anwar-al-Awlaki, prime suspect behind plane bomb plot. What did I say on Friday? Because I already knew Awlaki supposedly in Yemen with this new staged event. I said, you watch, they're going to blame it on Awlaki. By last night, Awlaki's behind it. He's behind the Fort Hood shooting, the government says. He's behind the underwear bombing. He's behind the Times Square bombing. But, of course, Fox News, leaked to Fox News, Anwar-al-Awlaki at the Pentagon in a meeting 2 months after 9/11, when he's on the news as the number 3 man in al-Qaeda under Osama bin Laden, a.k.a. Tim Osman. That's a CIA code name. And then right on time, it's Awlaki again, exactly as we predicted. And again, I'm not tooting my horn. This is incredibly transparent. All of this is. Now, let's go ahead and go to Paul Watson. We're about to go to break, Paul, but get into your report. CIA stooge Awlaki, prime suspect behind plane bomb plot.